Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's Infopedia Media Web Conference. Microsoft Community Connections Project Sky Office 365 Discount Offer. Today's session is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. If you do not consent to being part of a recorded session, please disconnect your line at this time. Attendees may access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference or at the same location you joined today's conference. To learn more about the ways you can participate in today's event, please click on the Q&A button in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. We encourage you to use the Q&A panel at any time to ask questions regarding content or to request support. To do so, please click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, type your question into the gray box, and click Send Question. Your question will appear under Pending Messages until someone responds. Our presenters will be responding to questions at the end of the session today. If you experience any technical difficulties during today's web conference, please press F5 to refresh your console or click on the Having Trouble Viewing link on the information page for troubleshooting tips. If you're still having issues, please ask a question. I'll be happy to help you resolve the issue. There are a few polling questions that you'll be asked to respond to throughout today's session. When a polling question appears on the left-hand side of your screen, please select the appropriate radio button and click Submit. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. One moment, please, while I start the recording. Welcome to today's web conference, Microsoft Community Connections, Project Sky, Office 365 Discount Offer. Sandeep, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Stephanie. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of Microsoft, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to learn about Project Sky and how it can drive your business utilizing Office 365. My name is Sandeep Misra, and I drive the partner strategy for Microsoft Community Connections. We are honored to have our chief guest, Kim Williams, the Chief Operating Officer from iCorps, as well as Jeff Loria, the Director of Technology from iCorps. Kim will share her success stories in landing Project Sky with Associated Industries of Massachusetts, which, by the way, is the largest statewide association of Massachusetts employees. Now, we have a surprise at the end of the call. Get ready for that. We have a Surface Pro 3 to give away. Now, there are always rules of the game, so for you to actually win, you need to stay till the end of the call, and when I call out your name, we'll get your information and we'll go from there. So very excited to have one very, very, very good tablet ready for you. So with that said, we'll kick off the agenda with Bruce Marshall. Bruce is the Partner Channel Development Manager on behalf of Microsoft. He'll kick us off with explaining what Project Sky is all about and the details of that. So with that said, Bruce, the floor is all yours.
Okay, great, Sandeep. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome. As Sandeep said, it's our pleasure to have you on the call today. Now, I turned on my video, and that's actually not an accident. But I just wanted to give you a quick flavor of, what my experience has been at Microsoft. And to some of you, I've been here at Microsoft for about 7 years, so I might have had hair when I started, working with you all. But prior to Microsoft, part of my career was shaped by my time in healthcare IT. We're going to come back to that and see why that's important and why each of us actually has a lot of experience to draw upon to reach out into the marketplace and make an impact. But at Microsoft, I started off as a connections presenter as part of the Microsoft Across America team. Some of you folks on the phone knew that group very well. And in fact, you might have even had the trucks there. That was a very popular piece. But my focus was the SMB marketplace. I had the privilege to speak to many of you and actually meet you in person as I worked with the SBS user groups and continuing on to other partner groups like the IAMCP chapters and things like that. And when you look at things, you find out that, looking back, especially when it comes to the server piece, server is where it all began, right? For a lot of you, you built your practice on that. And So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize my video window now so you can actually pay attention to the deck, but just wanted to greet you all. Okay, so server, sweet server. Now, some of you are chuckling in the background, but this was really what it was about. The ability to be able to serve your SMB customers, doing a lot of patching, making sure that there was uptime, very critical, you know, to the folks who had this. In fact, this was the way, right, to go to market. Now, in addition to that, there were a lot of folks who, when they looked at the sizing of their market, or the amount of customers that you had, it was a very manageable, smaller number. Now, that was limited by a couple of different things. The amount of work it would take both on-site from a staff standpoint, and then also the contracts that you would be able to procure. And as we know, you know, cloud has really changed that, right? It's changed the game. And when you think about it, the market has moved to cloud. And it's one of those things that, thankfully, you know, we have actually done a lot of research over the years to see that this is where everything is moving. Now, it's not that server has gone away, of course, you know, with the advent of great solutions like Windows Server 2012 R2, but now even server is matched with things like Azure services, right? So there's a cloud aspect to that. But when you look at cloud all up, is that more customers are needed in order to make your business plan effective. And when you look at customers and, okay, how do I get more, right? There are many, many options out there. And in fact, you know, what we'd like to do as part of keeping this interactive, we want to make sure that get your thoughts. So we're going to start with the first poll. And first poll question is, what do you find to be the most successful way to locate new customers? And the options are SEO, or search engine optimization, email marketing, live events, white papers, social media, or the ever-loved sandwich board. And we'll give you a couple of seconds to fill that out, and we'll see what the results are. Now, if we get a lot of sandwich boards, I'm going to have to change my content, but that's okay. All right.
So it looks like live events is our biggest answer by far.
Really?
The second would be search engine optimization.
Wonderful. Okay, that's great to know. Now, just out of curiosity, what came in third, Stephanie?
Third would be email marketing.
Email marketing.
Only a
Good,
few.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you know, as we look at this, right, thank you for answering that, by the way. It's very helpful to sort of shape our conversation. You know, all of these things can be good. Clearly, sandwich board is sort of a joke, but doing something is good. Doing multiple things is better. Now, when we look at one aspect that really drives reach, especially with the live events piece that we're talking about, you know, live events is a great way to reach multiple people, but what if you could connect with an organization or a group that could sort of amplify, you know, your impact there, and that's where business influencers come in. And we're going to talk more about this and really dig into what it is. But by engaging with these business influencer organizations like chambers of commerce or vertical associations and such, you actually may be able to gain access to the membership base. And as Kim and Jeff are going to talk about, a real-life example of how it really, the scale is what it's really about. You know, let's dig into how you do that and who these different folks are. So when we say influencers, you know, it's a term that we have coined to represent a couple of things. Membership-based organizations, right? These are groups that have folks who gather. They're usually, here you can see it's a 501c6 tax classification. That's important, and we'll talk about that in a second. But really, the members join to belong to like a group of like-minded businesses, right? So that they can be informed, and of course to drive commerce as well. So it's very, very important. And when we look at the way that they're aligned, some of these folks are aligned, they could be local area only. They could be state or national or even international. And we see a couple of them here. You know, you got the U.S. Chamber of Commerce or the ACCE, another group like that, manufacturing, bankers, small business development centers, CPAs. I mean, all these different things that are places where people gather to hone their skills and to be able to get information that's really useful to what they do. Now, one more double click or looking down a little bit for a second here. People sometimes mistake 501c3s and 501c6s. The biggest difference when you think about a typical 501c3, it's truly a charity like a food bank or something like that. And really it spends its revenue to provide a service like education or healthcare, whereas not-for-profit 501c6 really spends its revenue to support its member businesses, and also it must be a membership association, so it's got members, right? And then that's an important piece as well. And let's just now, because you know, one of the funny things that I've noticed when I've gone around the East region and the country in roles past and asked these questions, we get very different answers. So I'd like to understand how many folks, let's go to that next poll question, and understand which type of influencer organizations do you currently have a relationship with. We've found in the past that many folks have these relationships, and we're going to give you a good way to help leverage them. And it's okay if you don't, because there's different ways to approach the market with that. But as you look at the poll question, starts off with things like healthcare association. What we're going for there is anything around healthcare. So if it's a chiropractic association or dental, that's all under that. Certainly Chamber of Commerce, people know. Could be a CPA association or legal, or even the Small Business Development Center. Or if you don't have any at this time, that's okay as well. But love to get your thoughts on that.
So looks like the vast majority have chosen Chamber of Commerce, and then after that it was that they don't have any at this time.
Okay, and you know, it's interesting. I think that a lot of folks do, as a default, you know, when you set up shop, it's sort of like, you know, I'm gonna join the chamber because of being able to be represented and whatnot, and that's good. But we're going to give you some tips to go ahead and actually amp that up and be recognized and differentiate your business. So, you know, one of the things that as we look at that, engaging with these influencer organizations, constantly people are thinking, okay, how do I get this whole thing started? Now, and to that point, let me go ahead and if you've not heard of Jeffrey Gitomer before, I highly recommend his books and even his website. He does these really fantastic short vignettes on sales and, you know, motivation and whatnot. And you might know him best because he's the author of the Little Red Book of Selling, which happens to be the best-selling sales book of all time. And it truly is a little red book. Anyway, that's good because I can't read very quickly. Anyway, one of the books that he came out recently was the 21.5 Unbreakable Laws of Selling. Now, in the first chapter, he talks about this unbreakable law, one, which is attracting willing customers. When you look at some of them, I just took an excerpt here. Networking face-to-face at the highest level possible, you know, that's important. Joining a business group or a business association, not a leads club, that's important. Speaking in public, like with influencers and such, that's important. He spikes out some situations where, you know, folks are looking for speakers, and we'll talk about that. And then finally, speaking at trade shows, you know, that's important too, gathering where people are. I think the interesting thing is, if you sum up everything that he says, it comes down to this: adding value. Okay, if you're not adding value out of the gate and you're just looking to flip a sale, a lot of times it does not resonate. In fact, it can do the opposite. It actually can sort of sour people against whatever it is that you stand for or are offering. So that is why we put together Project Sky, because a great way to add value to these business influencers, right, is to get them on the best technology on the planet with the best partners. And so Project Sky, targeted discount program of Office 365 to those 501c6 folks we talked about through our SMB cloud partners to drive the best cloud experience, right, and grow advocacy and positive momentum, not just for Microsoft Cloud, but for our partners. Because in SMB, Microsoft does not have a channel, right? You are the channel. We have you are it. And so whatever we can do to help you, we want to do. And in fact, that's why we put together this program. Let's talk a little bit about the strategy now of Project Sky, what it breaks down to. Well, really, the bottom line, or the very first thing is that you want to get the influencer to be able to move to Office 365, and a way to aid that is the discount offer that we put together. Now, it doesn't stop there, because really what you want to do is really delight them through your services and Office 365 to make them happy, gain their advocacy, right? That's important. Now, at that point, we're going to give you some tools for this. You want to convert that advocacy into opportunities for the members to learn about cloud. Today, if you look at what some people think about cloud, it's still muddy. There means different things to different people. So being able to give a concrete example of how it can really transform the operations of a small business, that's a great opportunity, and that's what you're shooting for. And then finally, to make it really compelling and drive the point home, you want to try to create some type of special offer on your own that the influencer can get behind, because they see it as a value for their members. And that's one of the biggest things about influencers, is that their job, number one job, is to make sure that their members are growing and that they have the information they need to make good decisions. So that's something you want to keep in mind. So as we look at that, let's dig into the details, right? What is the Project Sky offer all up? I know everybody wants to make sure that they understand this, so we'll go through this in detail. The Project Sky special pricing is half off of the retail price for 1 year for E3, and it's got to be under advisor. Okay, so unfortunately this offer is not available for Office 365 Open, just for advisor. And also, just again to keep in mind, some folks have asked us, well, with the new SKUs that came out on October 1st, are they available for this? Nope, it is only E3. But the great news is it's 50% off. So what used to be $20 for retail will be $10 per user per month. And so it is a great deal. Now the program itself, you're not going to find a website dedicated to this where you can sort of sign up or anything like that. It's a pilot. And so we have a couple of things you need to keep in mind. One is we've got 5,000 seats remaining on this. This has been around for a little bit, but so the numbers are going down, which is great because we want it to be utilized. A single order needs to stay within our SMB marketplace or sizing segment-wise. So that means from 1 seat right up through 200, and this is 249, but 250 will be honored, of course, as well. And as you can see, if you start doing the math, when you have some larger influencers, which we have, this 5,000 could decrement pretty quickly, which would be great. Couple of other things, housekeeping items, that partners, you receive the full partner of record credit because of the way that for the full price seats, even though it's discounted because of the way that it's transacted. Now, this is very important. These must be redeemed before 11:30, so they expire on 11:30. So that's very, very important to make sure you put those to work. And then now let's get into the influencer requirements. Okay, as we talked, it's got to be a 501c6, not a 501c3. And one of the reasons why is that there is a whole nother pricing for true 501c3 organizations through TechSoup.org. Great pricing on many SKUs, so you want to check that out for your 501c3s. And I think some of you on the call, I know, have actually done this before with success. So this is a special thing for 501c6s we've not had before. The other thing is you want to make sure that they have members that you can sell into, right? So that's the small and medium business space. And then finally, we've got members, right? We want to make sure that they do something with their members on a regular basis, so you have a chance to speak to those members. So that's important as well. So, you know, as you approach these influencers, you would not be surprised to know that there's competition, right? So it's very, very important that we, as Microsoft, and of course you as partners, differentiate yourself with resources that you have available. So let's just ask you one more question, and that would be, for influencer accounts, so like the chambers and the CPA associations and things like that, what do you think is the ratio of Google versus Office 365? Meaning, what are they using most? The left of in the ratio is Google, and the right is Office 365. So let's take your bets and make your wagers. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go on mute for a quick second and grab a drink while you do that.
It
All
looks
right,
like
what do the numbers look like?
most people have guessed 2-1, and in second place they have guessed 6-1.
Okay, all right. I'm glad I didn't put a 20-1 up there anywhere. No, you guys who did 2-1, you got it. This is where things look. Now, this is for the ones that we were able to scan, and it certainly does look like Google is being preferred 2-1 with a lot of these influencers. You know, make no bones about it. You know, Google has made advocates of influencers, and they've done it in a couple of different ways, and it's important to take some notes on this. Many of you have heard of the Get Your Business Online events. Those events are really great. They do a big splash. Problem is they come in town, the governor comes, kisses some babies. They do a great event where they help people, small businesses get online, you know, but then they kind of leave town. That's where I think we have a huge advantage. But then also they're seen as sort of the free-er option, right? The days of having an absolute free business account from them is gone. But really, it's still a threat to your business, because one of the things we've realized is that as influencers utilize technology, or anybody really, they start to share organically what they've learned and what they know. So that's a threat to your business. And from what we know around technology, it's really not what's best for SMBs. But I'm really pleased we're going to go now move to the section where this theory matches real life here, and introduce a partner who has competed and won against Google, like many of you, but they employed Project Sky. So what I'd like to do is see if we could introduce Kim Williams, who is the COO of iCore Technologies. And Kim, if you just want to say hello and introduce Jeff, that would be great.
Sure, that would be great. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. First, let me say, before I introduce Jeff, let me say to all the partners on the call that I was at Microsoft for a long time. And when I was at Microsoft, I always aspired to be a partner and run my own business. So I learned lots and lots and lots of partners. I was always learning from partners and asking questions so I could get smarter about how partners run their business. So I want to say thank you, and I'm honored today to be on this call as a partner on the other side of the fence. And I'm happy to give back and share any insights, any lessons learned, anything you want to know in terms of how, as Bruce said, how we beat out Google in here with one of the largest, if not it is the largest association in the state of Massachusetts. Now, with that said, the brains behind it all. I get to kick it off and act like I know everything, and I don't. The brains behind the whole project and the initiative in terms of our great results was this gentleman I have joining me here today, and that's Jeff Laria. Jeff is our Director of Technology. I call him often my Chief Technology Officer, if you would. And he's the one who created the vision, the focus, if you would, and made it all real in terms of Office 365 with AIM.
All right, this is great. And Kim and Jeff, again, thank you for joining us, and thanks for letting us sort of tap into your know-how and experience. So, Kim, would you do a favor? Just go ahead and tell us a little bit about AIM, or Associated Industries of Massachusetts. That would be great.
Yeah, and let me just say right from the beginning, it's Associated Industries of Massachusetts, and the acronym is AIM. So we'll be using that interchangeably through the discussion here. So just a quick snapshot, Bruce, as you asked. AIM is a 100-year-old association, and it's the largest statewide association of employees in the state of Massachusetts. They're a very, very impactful association. Their mission is truly to provide financial performance, if you would, for their member organizations. They really focus on their member organizations by trying to create like economic opportunities for them, reduce their business costs. They're known for, or one of their highlights is they were the biggest advocate, if you would, in terms of a big tax repeal, like a tax recall, if you would, for businesses. So very heavily focused on their businesses and making a difference in their businesses. But I will tell you from a technology perspective and from a business perspective, and as they looked at Google and they considered Office 365, one of their primary challenges were that they need to be able to respond to their members. I mean, they keep their members front and center, the member organizations and the employees associated with them, and they keep them front and center, and they need to be able to respond to them and to their organizations very quickly. That was very important to them. They're also an organization, AIM, the organization that's spread out, you know, through all the corners of Massachusetts. So they have a very mobile, if you would, employee base. And so their employees need to be able to, as they said, respond quickly and have access to information. And that was just so perfect for us with Office 365. So as you can see on the screen, for the ones that are on the screen, the most important takeaway is when we started looking at this opportunity, your first impulse, if you say, oh, let me understand who the chambers are, the influence organizations and things like that, as Bruce called out, you really need to make sure you look beyond just that influencer organization. So for us, if we just looked at the 49 employees that that make up the Associated Industries of Massachusetts, we would be short-sighted. You really want to look into the depths of them. They have 4,500 member companies. And what does that mean? That means that the employee base that is aligned to those 4,500 members is over 5,000 employees. So when you talk about reach, when you talk about scaling your business, look beyond just, you know, the quick snapshot of the organization, but who do they touch? How many folks do they touch? And therein lies potential opportunity for Office 365 for you beyond just, you know, just the association themselves. So that's what we did from an perspective.
That's, I mean, it's almost mind-boggling, but you know, it really is a great formula to think through. Okay, we got the folks who are the employees that are very important, right, to influence, but then you got to double-click down, and it's just amazing. Now these results are really good. There's no question, and there's varying sizes of organizations. But I'm really curious. Jeff, it would be great to get your thoughts. Now, in an organization like this, clearly they're very visible and things like that. So how did you capture their interest with your services and with Office 365? How did that work? What was most attractive to them?
Great. Thank you. And Kim, thank you for that introduction. When we started working with Associated Industries, one of the things that we discovered early is that they really did want to go to the cloud. They wanted to look at cloud services. They had an aging infrastructure, As Kim indicated, they are very mobile with their employees. So they looked at many solutions. When we got in front of them, a couple of things that we did to really pique their interest is the first thing is we gave them a demonstration. We used the MEC demo. We brought them into our office, and we gave them an online demonstration that we highly customized for them. So we brought the C-level people in. We sat down, and they sat and they used email. They used Link, and we made it a real experience for them where they can touch it, they can feel, and they can see it in action. We even went one step further. Since they are a very highly visible company, all of their images were online. So we took every employee's image that was in showing up for our demonstration, and we took the time and put those images into Link, into Outlook, into SharePoint. So what they saw was how the product works. From a messaging component, they were currently on an Exchange system, so that was very transparent to them. And then what we did was we brought in the other services. We brought in Link, and we talked about how Link can move their business forward. We actually did a live demonstration where here at I-Corps, we in essence federated with the demo site, so they were able to talk to people outside their site. So again, where we leveraged this was, now you have members, right, 4,500 members, that if they're on the Office 365 platform, you can have this instant communication. We went a little bit past that. We talked a little bit about OneDrive and how it can affect their organization for business, storing and maintaining documents. One of the things that Associated Industries move forward here in Massachusetts is there is a Privacy Act. So we talked a little bit about how we can deal with document control. But at the end of the day, what we did was we made a reel for them. We made it a very intimate experience. We customized it to them, and we spent time researching. So I think knowing the customer, investing the time, and when we forward on to another screen, you'll see why that pays off multiple times. But really showing them the value of those services and how they work was how we got them very much interested.
And so because that's special, right? Because it really makes the customer feel special, right? And feel like it's that much more applicable to what they do. And one of the things I wanted to call out for everybody on the call, if you're not familiar with the MEC demo, there's different iterations of it, but there's one aspect that's available to every partner, and that is the MEC demo itself. And so the ability to be able to have a laptop or an environment provisioned, so you can actually create a demonstration between, let's say, two laptops where you can experience the interconnectedness that Jeff was talking about. So something you want to check out for sure. But Jeff, what solution did you find that you implemented, and how was it adopted once you actually got in there and actually did that?
Sure, that's a great question. One of the things I see a lot of partners focusing on really is just messaging. And we focus on the platform. And specifically when you're talking about the E3, we focus not only on messaging, so we obviously implemented the messaging for them. We did the migration from on-prem to cloud. We also implemented a custom SharePoint site for them for document management. So they now have document management. All their documents are online, securely online, broken down by department. We also implemented Business OneDrive for them. We moved all of their on-premise personal documents up to OneDrive for them on their behalf. We did Link. So that's ultimately that's what we did. We did the whole platform for them. So what's happening is this organization is no longer tied to an on-premise system. They're no longer tied to remote desktop or Citrix or whatever the case may be. So they are very highly mobile. And one of the things that I think was very important is as we implemented these solutions with them, we also brought in training. You have to get buy-in of every organization and every employee, and you have one opportunity to do that. So when we get them on the platform itself, we also look at training them, letting them know how it works, how to leverage Link. what can Link do for me? You know, great, it can do one-on-one meetings. It can do one-on-many meetings, like the meeting we're having today. It's a replacement. It's video. And really the power of that product, the power of SharePoint itself, how you can manage it. This is a company who will continue to develop on the SharePoint platform for the next 24 months and make that platform available to external users. So understanding the platform really has been a benefit.
That's great. I mean, you know, really meeting them where they live. And I know a lot of implementation projects, even after everything's been signed and it starts, it can fail unless you do gain the buy-in and sort of show people that this is easier than you think, and training is such a great aspect of that. Now, flipping over to you, Kim, you know, as partners go to look at how to do this, right, how to get into this, I think there's a thought sometimes that they have to, you know, sort of turn their operations on its head in order to make it work. So what is the revenue opportunity that you see for partners through the implementation of these influencers?
Sure. I will tell you, quite frankly, I think that's the best part. Because partners, we're all in this for services. I know that we certainly, you know, there is some, you know, services opportunity from the license perspective, but it's, you know, there's some revenue opportunity from the license perspective. But the reality is all about the services. And I'm amazed, you know, kind of flipping and becoming a partner. I am amazed about the services opportunity. And quite frankly, we actually, you know, played around with the numbers and what should we show here. And I'll be really transparent. We're lowballing it. There is actually a ratio from the one opportunity, and we're just talking about the 49 employees of AIM right here in this scenario. The revenue form of the Microsoft Office 365 licensing is 1 to 25 in terms of the revenue that is driven from the partner services. Now, that is based on us selling the stack, as Jeff advocates, right? So if you approach it that you're going in and you're just going to talk about Exchange and messaging and things like that, and maybe move them from one partner or one you know, solution to another in terms of, you know, in-house with you or Exchange, you're selling yourself short. The real opportunity comes in all the layers, and how do you continue to have conversations. So certainly, as Jeff said, we went in and we talked about messaging. Then we went in and we talked about SharePoint. And there was always opportunities to create a vision for them, to do whiteboard sessions with them. And so it just went on and continues to go on and on. So the services that, you know, our partners you know, drive for our businesses certainly can be different, but I'm sure you can relate. So whether it's managed services, consulting in different facets, it's training, as Jeff talked about, and deployment and design and all the different things, it still adds up to huge, you know, services opportunities for us as well. And like I said, I've really kind of lowballed, if you would, the ratio. We are still in there today from a support perspective. We didn't even add that here, but we do their ongoing support today. We augment their IT staff today. That's another thing. We didn't go in and say, hey, you know, let's take out your IT staff. We said, let us partner with you to help you be successful. And even till this day, we are still in there. And so, but it's all the number one takeaway I would say from this is you need to focus on the stack versus just kind of one or two, so you can keep the services opportunity really, you know, just really coming along.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, based, you know, in our discussions we had earlier too, you know, Jeff, you know, we said that, you know, it's really at the end of the day, to bring it all down, it's about selling the value of Office 365, not just the pieces parts. So as we kind of look at, you know, the end of this, you know, sort of the interview portion, what would you say, what are the three things that you would leave with the attendees, these partners, on that topic?
Sure. So I think when we engage with clients, potential clients, there are three areas that we look at. The first is probably the simplest, is cloud services. Typically, clients, they hear about cloud services, they need to know a little bit more about it. They're comparing, in essence, apples to oranges on different platforms. So sitting with a client and kind of explaining the benefit of the platform and the services there. And also, and this kind of will go over to the second part too, is making a business case. We look at the infrastructure. In this particular case, like a lot of cases, frankly, folks are on an aging infrastructure and they need to do something, right? So they need to either do a capital expense or replace a bunch of hardware, or do kind of monthly recurring expense, whatever the case may be. But we also make this a business decision. So we talk about kind of cloud services, and we help them compare and do some analysis on cloud services and what we can provide to them. We look at their infrastructure and the cost of operation today. And this is important. When someone looks at, this is a great deal, by the way, 50% off of E3 is a great deal. But when they look at the cost of it, they look and say, well, this seems like a lot of money. But when you actually break down the cost and you can spend 15 minutes and say, okay, if you have to replace your server, if you have to buy this licensing, if you have to buy Microsoft Office, for example, for a desktop, look at all these pieces, look at what you're using for conference software. So we look at the infrastructure, we make it a business case. And the last piece is, at the end of the day, is the end user experience. And I think this is key. As companies, and especially associations, what I've come to learn with associations is they're more mobile than a lot of traditional businesses. So when it comes to associations, like any other business, the end user experience is very, very important. So with the Office 365 platform, unlike other platforms, we have kind of a unified experience across every device. So my experience on my Windows 8 box is the same thing as on my Windows 7 box, which is the same thing on my tablet, which is the same thing on my phone, which is the same thing across all platforms. And I think that is important. What you're going to find is that more and more people are becoming agnostic to the hardware. They want the services. And if you can give them, it's the same button you push here on any different device, that helps a lot. So just to recap, three things: cloud services, really explain to them the platform, not just the email, infrastructure and business and the money of it. And last is just really the end user experience across all devices. That has been our success, and we continue to operate on that premise, and it's done well for us.
That's great. Thank you so much. Sounds like it's been great for AIM, the Associated Industries of Mass as well. Their gain in working with you is now their employees' gain, and soon maybe their members' gain as well, and love to hear about the next chapter later. So thank you. Love to have Kim and Jeff, if you'd hang on and help us with the Q&A portion, that would be great.
My pleasure.
Yeah, one final thing. Final thing I would say, Bruce, is just to summarize, we covered a lot of stuff here. Don't, make sure you look at the reach opportunity to scale your business. That's number one. And ours was aimed at where our target was at 500,000 employees. We see them as customers. Number two, make sure you sell the stack. Grow your services by selling the stack. That is so key. And the third I would say is, as you copy down the deck, my contact information is in there. There's plenty of opportunity for all of us to engage in Project Sky across the U.S. There's a multitude of opportunity. As my email contact is in there. I'm absolutely happy to have any further dialogue, details. You need more information. How do we do this or that? We'd be happy to help you in any possible way. So with that, I say much continued success to everybody.
And Bruce, can I leave you? I just want to leave one more comment here, actually.
Sure.
Word of mouth is very, very important. And as we meet with customers, they knew a client that migrated the platform and it was awful. This didn't work, that didn't work. I think to know the platform from a technical perspective is going to be key. You have that one opportunity with the clients, make sure it's smooth migration, and they become that referenceable client that's going to help you. So, you know, they're
That's
really
great.
planning it out is very important.
That's great. And, you know, word of mouth works those two ways, right? You know, one is
Correct.
good, and the other one is don't work with these folks. So,
Correct.
and you know what I'm hearing, and again, because I'm a simple person, just to boil it down, you know, you got to prove your value and be able to provide the value. And so thank you. You guys are doing a great job there. So thank you. And then, you know, when we look at, right, the next step here, right, how do we culminate in all of this? Well, it's now putting everything into action. Okay, so this is the Project Sky action plan for the folks who have heard how it lands in real life and what you can do with it and how you can leverage it to build more around your business. And, you know, it starts with approaching 501c6 influencers that you know, or that you'd like to target, but certainly the ones that you know are going to be lowest hanging fruit. And when we say those influencers, remember, we're talking about could be chamber, even better would be an association where you have a particular experience in solving those problems, because that's super important. The next piece, and there's a lot that happens between number 1 and number 2 here, but once you have a verbal agreement with the influencer for your proposal for Office 365 and to get them on it, you know, your services, what we're going to have you do is request a discount offer code by emailing projectsky@microsoft.com. It's as easy as that. Now, very quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to review it, make sure we have the information that we need, which is pretty much just the contact info for the influencer. And we're going to send you and the influencer a unique offer code. Okay, that offer code, very quickly, that influencer will use that code to apply that, you know, 1-year 50% discount during the purchase, you know, process online, and you'll actually see it on there. Used to be years ago, if you wanted to apply a discount, you had to get into like the back end, and it was just crazy. Now that we've actually made it easier, and that code, it's actually going to have a little box after they go to the cart and they selected the amount of E3 seats that they wanted. They put that offer code in. It'll actually discount it for them right on the screen, and they're good to go. So again, just to go through this one more time. Get with those influencers that you know or ones you want to target. Get them to the point where they are at a verbal agreement with you, sometimes known as 80% in the sales cycle, and then make sure that they're good to go with Office 365 and your services, and then request that code right here, okay? And then we'll send you a unique offer code to you and also the influencer. And some people say, well, why are you sending it to the influencer? The reason why is there's just some legal terms and conditions that we have to have the influencer see, and then that's how we actually check that box, so make sure we're good there. And then finally, they use the code. Very, very important to keep in mind, I got to have it done by 11/29, not 11/30, because that's when they expire, okay? Good. Now, moving on, just to finish strong here. Now, if this is a flight plan, we talked about targeting those influencers. We talked about getting them on Office 365 with the Project Sky discount, and they're happy. Very important. They see the value, and you've shown the value. Now it's a question of, when you're talking to the members, how do I help them get educated? That's where Microsoft Community Connections resources comes in, okay? It is our way to support something that we know is super effective in the marketplace. And how do we know that? You've proved it. iCore has proved it. I have actually seen the attendee list. I know many on the phone have actually proved it. And right now, so far this year, we've got really 500,000 customers, have generated many, many leads across the country. And one of the ways that we do that and support you is through this event kit. And the event kit has different information in it. It's got, for folks who've not experienced it before, it's going to have some marketing flyers for you. It's going to have the content, which is from our award-winning Ready to Go site. It's going to have Microsoft Store discount cards for you. And then finally, it's actually going to have a piece of software to raffle off, like Office 2013 Professional or even Windows 8.1 Pro. All you have to do to make that happen is to request a kit at www.mscommunityconnections.com. So it's very, very important for you to take a peek at that. And then finally, just to finish up here, folks, so why would you want to use MCC and this type of approach to the market? And really what it comes down to is partners who execute those events with MCC are growing 15% faster than partners who don't. So that's very, very important to keep in mind. So let's quickly move over to Q&A with the time that we've got remaining. And let's see, Sandeep, how have you got any questions? Or right now is a good time for people to enter their questions into the IM window, correct?
Yeah, so Bruce, the good news is people have been proactive in entering their questions, and we've been answering lots of great questions along the way.
Awesome.
I do have some questions I would love to get Kim and you guys involved. The first one is from Bill Hole. Kim, this is for you and Jeff. For iCorp, demonstrating the product with a customized experience is a great way to highlight the offering and your services. At what client size do you offer that customized experience versus sending the influencer to a website or sending an attachment? How did you arrive at that business threshold?
Jeff, I'll let Jeff talk about specifically what he did with AIM. AIM was, 49 users, if you would. But the piece that we customized, as Jeff talked about, was the executive. So I don't know, Jeff, was that about 10?
Yeah, I think it was 12 users we customized it for with a 50-seat opportunity. And Kim, if I may, I feel this one. I think.
Yeah, please.
I think from my kind of perspective is, it has to be worth the effort. And what I mean by worth the effort is that, do you customize an experience for 2 or 3 user shop? Probably not, but doesn't mean you may not, right? So it has to be what's beyond that. I think people who I just finished doing some MEC stuff, and one of the statistics there, which was very interesting, is that people who do live demonstrations, their close rate was, and it ranged from company to company I spoke with, was somewhere up in the 70–80%. Of doing actually, if you do a live demo, here's what you can close. So I think it's probably the value of the client, not necessarily the seat size. We've done this for as little as 6 people, and we've done it 6 seats, and we've done it as much as 100 seats, or actually 160 seats to be exact.
Yeah, I think I would just punctuate what Jeff said. It's really about the opportunity, and the key is looking beyond. Who do they touch? Are they an influencer? And we've done this, as he said, with even clients, because they're influencers in a certain, vertical, or just understand the client and who they touch, and make sure you're looking at the bigger opportunity before we say, oh, it's a waste of time for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 seats. That's the key.
Great. Thank you so much. Another question: how do partners make money on the Office 365 licenses?
I'm gonna leave that to you, Kim.
I think the point I was trying to make, and I was trying to make sure I was being sensitive in terms of how I said it. There is revenue that is generated, licensing revenue that is generated from the Office 365 license, but that is not how you make the money in real transparency. You really have to build your value and your services around it. That is the key.
Great.
And if I could comment just quickly too to add to that,
from our business model.
And actually,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Kim, we totally, in fact, it's very interesting at this point. Microsoft has put out. We know the market has changed, right? I think everybody knows that, and the ability to be able to, like you said, have a successful business as a Microsoft partner selling cloud includes some transformation. We've got a whole series about, transforming your business and how to do that. And there's one site that I want to make sure everybody knows is available to walk through the resources, including that business transformations resources, and it's called Cloud Sure Step. Cloud Sure Step. And you're going to find some things in here. And actually, it actually echoes and agrees with the approach that you took, the great approach you took with AIM. And so, I think it's a great model for folks to look at.
Great. Bruce, couple of questions.
One last thing, because I have talked to a couple of partners who that's all they do is license, but in that case, it's about volume for them. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. So if you were going down that path that you said it was just license for me, but you need to do lots of volume. If that's not it, you can't live, you won't, the business model can't, sustain itself with just license. You really have to focus on the services side. And when you focus on the stack, there's lots of services opportunities.
Yeah, that's a great point. You had a question, Sandeep?
Yes, we do actually. I just want to make sure we kind of get through some of these important ones as well. So how do they ensure, Bruce? This is questions for you. How do they ensure that they're going to get the code, and as well as there's the 1129 seems kind of a short sales cycle. Is there any extension that can happen?
Okay, so how can you be assured that you're going to get the code? Well, absolutely, you need to just follow the process you see on the screen by sending the email to projectsky@microsoft.com. There's several people on the team that get that email, and we work in concert to make sure we move them in and out very quickly. If you don't hear something within 24 hours, you do want to go ahead and email us back, but we should be able to get right back to you. Regarding the cutoff on 11/30, at this point, that is the cutoff for these codes that have been created. And so just because we're here with just us, under the cone of silence here, even though the call is being recorded, I would say that we are doing our level best to try to get more of a runway so that these codes won't expire then, because we do know it's a tight time frame. And that's one of the reasons why we sort of stressed earlier about the fact that you really do want to approach some of these influencers that you know. But just so you know, as of right now, it is officially ending on 11/30. And the moment, if there's any change in that, we will definitely get back to, you're going to hear about this as a group who registered and attended this call. Because we will definitely want to make sure that you know that there's more time to execute on this great offer.
Great. And now we've come to a very important time on this call, which is to have our giveaway, our sweepstake. Many of you have seen the Surface Pro 3. I'm sure a lot of you want your hands all over it. And we have that special tablet for you that can definitely replace your laptop. So with that said, Kimberly, how about some drum rolls? Let's see. Woo! All right, here we go. I'm reaching in. All right, the winner is, and you have to be present, so you have to say, unmute yourself. Come back out. Mike Schenk from Jupiter Systems. Are you with us? Either unmute or say something on the
He'll have to type in a message.
Yes, type in a message.
Type a
so
message
we know where
into the
you're
Q&A, Mike, so we know you're here.
Everyone's hoping that Mike can't get to his keyboard, by the way.
And
Mike, we'll give you 10 more seconds or we'll have to move on. Oh, Mike Schenk says I am here. All right.
Job.
Congratulations, Mike. Yeah, really, you should be happy. So look for that and you'll get a message from Kimberly soon. So we appreciate you coming on board today and listening to us. Again, I have a few minutes, Bruce, so I will take the floor now and kind of close it out for us. Really thank you, Kim, Jeff. Really appreciate your insights there, as well as you, Bruce. We have great success stories. We've heard them all from Project Sky. We know how it works. We know why you should do it. And now it is time. It is time for you to actually take full advantage of this special offer. We know we don't get these often. And when we do, we've got to go out there and really push hard and generate our business using this opportunity. So once again, thank you, and know that we will be there for you every step of the way. So if you do have any questions, do email it to us with the contacts that we have provided. We will as well publish this slide and send you follow-up emails. So thank you, everyone, for a great opportunity and call today, and we wish you all the best in the near future.
Great. Thank you, Sandeep. And I just want to take a moment to ask everyone to take a second to fill out our survey. You should see that link show up in a pop-up box on your screen momentarily. We'd love to have your feedback prior to logging out. The scores are on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. And with that, I would again like to extend a big thank you to our presenters, and we'd like to thank you for joining this call. You may now disconnect.